The fluorescent lights overloading Dark 4 had a relentless, high-pitched buzz. It was 3:17 a.m. The warehouse was freezing, smelling of diesel fumes and cold concrete. Daniel leaned against a steel pillar, his thumb swiping mindlessly across a cracked phone screen. He was watching a video of someone building a cabin in a forest he would never visit. "Are you going to do the perimeter or just stand there?" Marcus, one of the night shift forklift drivers, rolled past, his breath visible in the cold air. Daniel blinked, the blue light reflecting in his tired eyes. He shoved the phone into his pocket. "Yeah, just checking the time." He wasn't. He was just filling the empty space, so he wouldn't have to be alone with his own thoughts. At 6 a.m., his shift ended. The walk to the bus stop was always the hardest part. His knees were stiff from hours on the concrete floor. The sun was just starting to crest over the city skyline. Men and women in clean clothes were stepping out of coffee shops, walking with purpose. Daniel walked with his head down, moving against the current. He got back to his thin-walled apartment. The microwave spun a frozen dinner, humming a low, flat note. He sat on the edge of a mattress that lay directly on the floor. His eyes burned. His body was exhausted. He knew he needed to sleep. But instead, he pulled the cracked phone back out. He opened an app. He scrolled. If he went to sleep, the next day would begin. And the next day was just another night shift. So he stayed awake, borrowing time from tomorrow, just to feel like he had a choice in his own life. He didn't fall asleep until 10:30 a.m. 2 days later, the routine broke. The phone vibrated against the floorboards at 2 p.m. It wasn't his alarm. It was his aunt. His mother had been admitted to the county hospital. The bus ride took 2 hours, but Daniel barely remembered it. When he walked into the hospital room, the smell of antiseptic and old linens hit him. The only sound was the squeak of a nurse's rubber shoes on the linoleum down the hall and the rhythmic hiss of an oxygen machine. His mother looked incredibly small, lost inside an oversized, faded gown. Daniel sat down in the stiff vinyl chair next to a bed. The initial adrenaline faded, leaving a heavy, hollow panic in his chest. He didn't know what to do. His hand went to his pocket. It was an automatic reflex. He pulled the phone out. His thumb hovered over a colorful icon. He caught his own reflection in the dark, smeared glass. Bags under his eyes. A 32-year-old man, sitting next to his sick mother, instinctively trying to escape into a screen because the reality of the room was too heavy. He put the phone face down on the plastic tray table. For the first time in a very long time, he just sat in the dead air. He felt his skin practically crawl. The stillness terrified him. His mother was stabilized and sent home a few days later, but something in Daniel had fractured. The warehouse felt different when he went back. The buzzing lights felt louder. The scrolling felt hollow. On Friday morning, his shift ended at 6 a.m. Instead of taking the bus straight home, he bought a black coffee in a paper cup from a corner bodega. He sat on a cold concrete bench overlooking the street. At 6 a.m., the city was empty. The air was perfectly still. By 7:30 a.m., the noise began. Car horns, sirens, people rushing, looking at screens, tense and distracted. Daniel realized he couldn't remember the last time he had sat for an hour without reaching for a distraction. He was living in the chaos of the afternoon, working in the fake isolation of the night, and sleeping through the only peaceful hours the world offered. he decided to run a quiet experiment. On his 2 days off, he would wake up at 5 a.m. The first attempt was a complete failure. When the alarm went off in the pitch black of his bedroom, the exhaustion was suffocating. He hit the button. Just 10 minutes, he thought. He woke up at 11:30 a.m. The street outside was loud with traffic. He stared at the ceiling, feeling a familiar, heavy embarrassment sink into his chest. The following week, he tried again. 5 a.m. He forced his stiff legs out from under the blanket. He didn't turn on the overhead lights. He sat at his small kitchen table. The old radiator in the corner clicked and hissed. A street lamp outside cast a faint yellow glow across the linoleum. He had placed a pen and a blank notebook in front of him the night before. 20 minutes passed. Nothing happened. His hands literally twitched. He felt a physical itch in his brain. On his third weekend trying the routine, he caved. At 5:15 a.m., he got up, walked to the bedroom drawer, and pulled out the phone. He brought it back to the table. He opened an app and started scrolling. He watched a stranger complain about an airport line. He watched a car get detailed. He scrolled and scrolled, the blue light washing over his face. He looked up at the microwave clock. 5:58 a.m. A sudden, sharp wave of nausea hit his stomach. He dropped the phone onto the table. He looked at the blank notebook sitting next to it. He grabbed the notebook and walked toward the trash can, ready to throw the whole stupid idea away. He stood over the plastic bin for a long time. Then he walked back and set the notebook down. He kept trying. Slowly, the morning stopped being a punishment and became a buffer. He started reading shipping manuals he brought home from work. He would sip a glass of cold water while the city outside his window remained dark and asleep. On a Tuesday at 3 a.m., a forklift driver clipped a shelving unit. A wooden pallet splintered, sending heavy boxes crashing across Dock 2. The floor manager, veins popping in his neck, stormed over. "What is going on here? Daniel, why aren't you blocking this off?" Normally, Daniel would shrink. He would feel his heart race, mutter an apology, and nervously wave the trucks away. This time, he just watched the manager. He noticed how tired the man's eyes were. Daniel rubbed his own tired eyes, took a breath, and spoke. "I'll grab the industrial sweeper." His voice was entirely flat and calm. "Marcus, back the rig up 5 feet so we don't pop a tire on the nails." The manager blinked. Their anger suddenly had nowhere to land. "Yeah, okay, do that." Later that night, in the break room, Marcus was stirring a cup of microwaved soup. He looked over his shoulder at Daniel. "You on new meds or something?" Marcus asked. "You ain't been flinching when Henderson yells lately." Daniel just shrugged. "Just been waking up earlier." During his early hours the following weekend, the radiator clicking in the background, Daniel sat at his kitchen table. He was thinking about the broken pallet. He sketched the warehouse floor plan in his notebook. He noticed the forklift drivers were taking a highly inefficient route around the North Dock to avoid a tight corner. It was adding 4 minutes to every single drop. He sketched a simple, rearranged staging area that would bypass the bottleneck. When he went to work, he walked to the facility director's office. The lights were off. Daniel stood in the empty hallway for a full minute. He bounced his pen against his leg. He almost turned around. Instead, he slid the coffee-stained paper onto the dark desk and walked away. 3 weeks went by. Nothing happened. Daniel reheated a cup of coffee in the break room microwave, watching the plate spin. He felt stupid. He was just a night guard drawing pictures. Nobody cared. On a Thursday night, the director called him into the office. "You leave this on my desk." The director held up the sketch paper. Daniel shifted his weight awkwardly. "Yeah, sorry if it's not formatted right. Just an idea." "Why'd you draw it?" "The drivers lose 4 minutes per run dodging the shelving. Figured if we move the staging area, it saves a few hours a week." The director set the paper down. He looked out the glass window at the dark warehouse floor. He didn't say anything for 10 long seconds. The silence hung heavy in the room. Then he looked at Daniel. "We moved the staging area Sunday," the director said quietly. "It shaved 15% off our load times. I need a logistics coordinator on the day shift. You want it?" Daniel didn't become a millionaire overnight, but he got off the night shift. He got a predictable schedule. He made enough money to move his mother into a ground-floor apartment. The transition to the day shift was strange. A month into the new job, Daniel was standing in line at a grocery store at noon. The line wasn't moving. He felt the empty air around him. His right hand twitched, instinctively reaching toward his pocket to grab the cracked screen. He stopped. His hand fell back to his side. He took a breath and just stood there, looking at the magazines. The world will always try to hand you endless streams of trivial information. If you do not carve out a physical space where it cannot reach you, you will never hear your own voice. A year later, Daniel is sitting on a small balcony. It is 5 a.m. The steam rises from a black coffee. The phone is in a drawer in the other room. The city below is entirely still. The sky is a deep, bruised purple, just beginning to soften into a pale blue. He isn't reading. He isn't planning his next career move. He is just sitting in the empty air, finally awake. If you stayed with me this long, I genuinely appreciate you for watching. Subscribe to The Northern Silence if you want more stories like this. There's a lot more coming.